Have you seen this?
Seen what?
I'm sorry, Dave. I
that's all
told
right,
him you were
Lucia.
busy.
I'll take
and
care of it.
that's-
I'll
Man,
take
this
care
is
of it.
something that just couldn't wait.
Sorry, ma'am, my foot.
Have you seen this? The Chronicle has just come out with the first poll of the season.
Well, you don't sound too happy with the results.
Just read.
Well, Wainwright 61%, Carruthers 29%, Phillips 11%. Well, I didn't think I'd rank that high so quickly.
You really expect me to believe that?
Well, you're still leading Lee and myself by over 30 points. What are you complaining about?
I'm complaining about what I talked to your fiancée about. Didn't she tell you?
No.
I'm on to you, Phillips. I know what you and Lee Carruthers are up to.
Miss Brubaker, what are you doing here?
I came to talk to Vaughn. Is he in?
No, I'm afraid not. Would you care to leave a message?
No, that's all right. Actually, Mr. Carpenter, if you don't mind, I'd rather talk to you.
Where in the world is that woman coming from now? Terry, she accused me of being a workaholic with no concern at all for romance.
She is a little concerned about the itinerary you've drawn up for me, Harold. This is going to keep me kind of busy.
Oh. Well, Terry, you know, we kind of got into this thing at the last minute, like seventh inning. It's going to take everybody pitching in and working together.
I noticed that some of these events are scheduled to take place during the wedding.
Yeah, do you have any idea what a PR gold mine this wedding's going to be?
Hasn't even crossed my mind, Harold.
Well, it's not going to be a press conference or anything like that.
Well, I know that, but at the very least, it's going to be distracting.
Terry, I promise you, there won't be any news people sticking cameras in your face or anything like that. But Terry, look, the people need to see that Dave's, well, he's starting his life over again in a manner of speaking. He's fallen in love. People eat that kind of thing up. There are people, Terry, who will vote for him on that one point alone.
Oh, come on, Harold.
No, it's true. See, it shows him to be a family man, stable. We'll get a couple of human interest writers to dash off some articles about that. You know how Lee Carruthers capitalized on his wedding to Kate before the runoff election?
I do. And I hate to see Dave and I marketing our wedding like that.
It won't be like that, I promise.
But, Harold, is all of this really necessary? I mean, didn't the Responsible Citizens Movement donate enough money to cover publicity?
Well, they donated it for publicity, and after Dave made the announcement in the newspaper, we got a lot more money. But, gosh, Terry, do you have any idea how much money a campaign like this chews up?
Well, I know it's expensive.
You bet it is. That's why we need all the free publicity we can get. Hey, Terry. Look, I know how important Dave is to you, and I know how you want to protect your privacy. But, Terry, voters need to be counted. The people who vote for Dave are going to do so on his integrity and on his lifestyle. We've got an uphill battle to fight. Dave thinks he's got an outside chance.
Do you?
You know something, when we got started on this thing, I told him I didn't. But now that we're rolling on it, I am 100% committed to this campaign. Dave is too. Terry, you're a tremendous asset to Dave right now.
Well, I can see that I'm just going to have to keep on practicing my smiling.
You don't have to do that at all. You just be yourself, and you'll project the kind of wife that the voters are looking for. Confident, supportive.
So, what would you like to talk about?
Things aren't the way they seem between me and Vaughn.
Oh?
Well, it's not what you think either.
Are you aware of what I'm thinking?
I know what Vaughn has probably told you.
Well, Vaughn's told me a lot of things.
Gil Prescott has nothing to do with this baby. We are strictly friends, and that's where it stops. Did I say something funny?
Miss Brubaker, you needn't be concerned that I'm going to jump to rash conclusions like Vaughn. And also, Vaughn has no hard facts that implicate Gil Prescott in your problem.
You don't buy what he's been saying?
So Gil has a reputation of being a ladies' man. But that doesn't mean that he's responsible for every pregnancy that happens in Kingsley. You smiling?
I didn't expect this.
Oh, you didn't expect this old man to understand why his son-in-law was so upset.
I guess not.
Vaughn is as hard to see through as saran wrap. Please, be seated.
Well, it's also confusing. For a while there, I thought that we were really making progress. He was nice to me. He was understanding, even compassionate. And now it's like he's out for blood or something, and I don't know why.
Young lady, I think you should understand that I found your statement in court very difficult to swallow. An interesting story, but after seeing Vaughn's reaction to it, I began to wonder if his plan, whatever it was, hadn't backfired.
So you're accusing me, too?
No, I'm not accusing anyone. I'm saying that I understand your circumstances.
And what circumstances might those be?
Vaughn Sumner comes from a wealthy family, a lot of money. And if someone could finagle a little of that money for a worthy cause, like raising a fatherless child.
What are you saying?
Well, I'm saying that I understand what you did. And that had I been in your circumstances and seen all that money, I'd probably do exactly the same thing.
I don't like your implications, Mr. Carpenter.
Huh?
Vaughn Sumner is the father of this child.
And he is still married to my daughter.
Not for long. Not if she has her way about it.
Since when do you have such insights into my motivations, Tina?
From that grin, I take it you've seen the polls.
Not yet.
The first major poll since Phillips entered the race, and you haven't seen the paper yet? Well, please, have a look. What's the matter? Why that grin?
I am smiling, Congressman Carruthers, because I have Courtney Carpenter right where I want her. And you said I couldn't do it.
I don't know what you're talking about, Hugh.
I'm talking about you and Carruthers teaming up on me. Your influence will be just enough to bring me down in the voters' mind and give Carruthers the edge in the election.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about what I told your fiancée about, but
You
I see
leave my
she did-
fiancé out of this. Now, how can you say that Lee and I are teaming up?
Because there's no difference between a Chesterfielder voting for me or voting for you. We're both running for the same things, and we're both running to defeat the incumbent.
Yeah, I think there's a difference. I think there's a big difference. Your treatment of the poor has proven more show than reality.
Because I'm not a bleeding heart like you? Listen, I can get more things done for the voters in this district than you could in a lifetime.
My contributors seem to think otherwise. They look upon you the same way I do, and they're fed up.
Is
They
that
want a real
so?
choice, yes.
Oh, well, just tell me one thing. How much of those contributions are coming from Lee Carruthers?
Oh, that's absurd.
It's not absurd that the points you mustered in the polls came largely from my support.
Well, that's the voters' prerogative.
But the voters' minds can be manipulated, and they are, by some well-executed political maneuvering on Lee Carruthers' part.
Believe me, there's absolutely no collusion on the part of Lee Carruthers and myself.
You've got to admit, Dave, that your running can only help Carruthers and hurt me. Surely you can't be that naive.
Excuse me, Dr. Phillips. Lucille told me that you weren't doing anything important.
You know I'm speaking the truth, Dave, and if you're smart,
I think you've said enough, Hugh.
Not by a long shot.
What was that all about?
It was round one in my political career. I haven't even started campaigning, and my opponents are attacking me. Sit down.
Maybe what I have to tell you will cheer you up.
Oh, what's that?
The other night, after we talked in your apartment, well, afterwards, I started reading the Bible. And For the first time in my life, I prayed.
I think I'd better leave.
My sentiments exactly.
If your father weren't here, I'd rip your hair out.
Now, simmer down, Miss Brubaker. Look, we were having a conversation, and it's very rude of you to burst in here and interrupt.
I don't want her here.
As long as she is my guest in my house, she stays.
Father.
Hush!
Carpenters. It's for you. It's Gil Prescott.
All right, I'll take it in the other room. If you are smart, you will both take this opportunity and discuss your differences and stop behaving like a couple of alley cats.
Has he turned on you yet?
Who?
Our knight in shining armor. Has he shown his true colors?
Lately, I've been having a little trouble seeing his true colors because of the way you've been treating him.
Tina, how can you defend this guy? Go ahead and tell me that he's the best thing that ever happened. Tell me that I was so stupid to give him his leash.
Look, if you weren't so insensitive to him, maybe he wouldn't be so insensitive to everybody around him.
Oh, I forgot. Vaughn is awfully delicate. He can dish it out, but he can't take it back.
If you would stop and listen, you might hear what he's trying to say.
I hear what he's saying. But you know, it's bad news from where you stand. See, he loves me. He doesn't love you. You keep throwing yourself at him only to get shot down. He could care less about you, Tina. But you may want to stick around, because I do have other plans. I've got another fish to fry.
Well, if he's lucky, he'll choke on any bait you might set out.
Really? Didn't realize you had such contempt for your old friend, Dan Myers.
You should have seen it, Lee. I mean, Clark Gable would have been envious. I mean, I stood there, you know, gazing into Courtney's eyes, telling her how awful I've been. You know, I even told her that the sordid women in my past is what corrupted me, you know, but now I finally found a woman pure enough to keep me faithful.
And she bought that?
Yeah. Oh, get this. There's more. I mean, I left there in just abject repentance, you know, and she followed me. She hurried after me, but I was gone. I was down the hall in the fire exit, hiding there watching the show. I mean, it was a classic.
Well, there may be a place for you in CTE after all.
Yeah, through marriage. I mean, we haven't, you know, made all the promises yet, but the seeds have been planted, and with just the right kind of watering, I do believe those seeds will sprout very soon. You know, I'm wondering, though, how to handle this thing now. I mean, what should my next step be? I mean, you're big ladies, man. What do you think? Should I try sulking, or what do you think?
Well, pity usually works with women. Certainly helped me with Kate Phillips. But I think with Courtney, she's probably sick and tired of Vaughn's whining by now.
You know, that's a good point. That's true. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should try my Superman bit. You know, I'm gonna knock the door down and carry her off on my shoulders. What do you think?
That only fulfills middle-aged women's fantasies. And apes.
Yeah, well, what do you think I should do then? Maybe more of the same, huh?
Well, why not? It's worked up to now. Follow it up with a bouquet of flowers. Hey, look, I don't have time for this nonsense. Let's move on to something a little more important, like getting Lee Carruthers elected.
Oh,
Now, why don't you take a look at these polls?
All right. Let's see. In a surprise showing, the Chronicle poll has revealed that Dave Phillips' impact on the 9th District congressional seat has been significant. Wow. Despite his late entry into the race. Oh, that's great. That is great.
Dan, our strategy is working. Now, Phillips pulled 9 of his 11 votes from Wainwright.
Yeah.
Only 2 from me. These guys are going to be battling for the same turf, and I'm going to be sneaking ahead from the rear.
Do I know a good strategy when I see one?
Let's remember whose idea it was.
Yeah, all right. I'll give you that one. But the main thing we got to do now is we got to keep our momentum going, right?
Exactly. Every opportunity you get, I want to see Wainwright and Phillips slugging it out.
Count on it.
And to think that the man has not even begun the campaign yet.
All right, I didn't understand everything that I read in your Bible, but some of it was very clear. And I can't help but to think that it was because I took the time to read what God has said that he brought Stacy to me that night.
Stacy? What does she have to do with it?
Well, she told me all about Gil, about all that she and Amber suffered because of him.
Yes, I know my daughters. I know what they went through. But that still doesn't mean that Gil was all responsible.
Yeah, but he was responsible for Amber's pregnancy.
That's true, but he also tried to save the child.
And from what Stacy tells me, you can't be sure how many women this guy's gotten in trouble.
Where's all this leading? You started to tell me that you prayed for the first time in your life.
Yeah, and Stacy showed up and gave me the lowdown about Gil. He's been spending a lot of time with Tina lately. I think it's very possible that he's the father of this child.
But this is all circumstantial. You can't prove that he was...
I confronted him.
What did he say?
He got very defensive. Said he didn't know what I was talking about.
And you still accused him?
Dr. Phillips, the guy has guilt written all over his face.
Now, hold on, Vaughn. You said you prayed, and I believe in the power of prayer. But to say that Stacy came over and you confronted Gil because your prayers were answered? Well, I just don't think you can make that connection.
But you're forgetting Gil's past.
No, I'm not. But that doesn't give you the right to accuse him. Look, the only person you've talked to was Stacy, and she was deeply hurt by Gil.
Oh, come on, Dr. Phillips. What are you doing defending this guy? From what she told me, he's caused you more problems in these last 2 years than you know.
Yes, he has. And I was very angry for what he did to my daughters. But that doesn't give me the right to accuse him now. Look, what does Tina say about all this?
I don't know. I haven't talked to her yet. But I'm sure she'll deny it.
Do you think you're ready to admit that you lied in court about your affair with Tina?
Why does everyone keep bringing this up?
Because it's important. Look, you said you prayed. That means you want the Lord's help in your life. But he won't give it if you continue to lie. You have got to trust him to see you through. And then your prayers will be answered.
Yeah, but I don't know if I can do that.
Well, he didn't say that you'd have to go it alone.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I better get going. Thank you for your time.
Oh, sure. Oh, wait a minute. We're having our rehearsal dinner tonight. Will you join us?
Sure. I'd love to. I'd be honored.
Mr. Savard, pleasure to meet you. I've been looking forward to this.
I hope my urgent request for a meeting didn't mess up your schedule.
No, not at all. I would have made time for you anyway. Let me get you something to drink.
No, I'm fine.
You sure? I got coffee, tea, down the hall?
No, really, that's all right.
Okay. Well, Mr. Savard, have a seat. What can I do for you?
Please, call me Cy.
Cy, you call me Harold. We'll get along fine.
Well, you know, as I mentioned on the phone, I represent a consumer lobby based in Washington.
Mm-hmm. Something that the candidate, Dr. Phillips, is strong support of.
When we read about his entering the race in the newspapers, we decided we'd better do some checking up on him. Our group's always interested when a doctor throws his hat in the ring.
I'm sure you are.
We're familiar with his exemplary work in Chesterfield and his remarkable comeback from alcoholism. Well, frankly, that's something that few doctors are able to overcome.
Yes. Physicians have trouble healing themselves.
Exactly. Anyway, our lobby wants to support him for Congress, and we're wondering if he would be interested in that.
Well, Cy, naturally, after we talked to you on the telephone, I did a little research on your organization, and I have to tell you that we would be proud to have your support.
Excellent. I knew that would be the case. But since he entered the race so late, well, we're going to need him in Washington for a meeting day after tomorrow to thoroughly discuss his platform.
Well, we might have a little problem there. Dr. Phillips is getting married tomorrow. He's going to be on his honeymoon.
Oh, that's too bad. Our executive cabinet is in session only at that time, and we can't meet him at a later date. Do you think he could adjust his schedule?
I don't know.
I'm sure he'll see the advantage to him. We have an awful lot of influential people in our lobby, and it could mean a lot of money to the campaign.
I thought you couldn't stand Dan Myers.
Well, that just shows you how little you do understand me.
I understand that you're so greedy you won't even let go of something that you don't want.
Oh, I want Dan. And Vaughn, too, if he can serve my purposes later on. You should have seen Dan when he ran into me the other night and I was with a couple of guys. Jealous as a child. Yeah, he came crawling back to me with his tail between his legs, ready to offer me the moon. I think I'll take it.
Well, you make a beautiful pair. You both deserve one another.
Do I detect a note of cynicism? You know, this could well destroy Vaughn if he found out about it.
Is that what you're going to do?
Maybe destroy is too strong a word. Maybe I'm just trying to pay him back for all the pain he's caused me these past few months.
And you were pointing out Vaughn's true colors a minute ago.
What's that supposed to mean?
That means that I see you for what you really are.
Yeah, well, Vaughn has a way of doing that to people. You'll catch on.
You know, Courtney, there was a time when I wanted to be just like you. I envied you. You were so cultured, so refined, so feminine. But now I see you for what you really are, and it is so nasty it makes me sick. No, I never want to be like you, and no matter how hard the things I'm going through are right now, I am never going to let it make me like you.